No, black guys did not like me. They didn't like me. And I learned this as early as elementary and going into middle school, high school. Those were the most prevalent years and the most impressionable years, because at that age you're transitioning from a child into a adolescent, and you're getting ready to become a young adult. And I've always been a very observant young person, and I would just observe people. And I remember black guys not liking me. And I didn't say anything to these guys. I didn't mistreat any of these guys. If anything, I just would speak and go on about my day. But they made it known to me how they thought of me. And they would say, you know, I wouldn't choose you as my girl. Now, mind you, I didn't do anything to initiate this conversation. It was just randomly brought to my attention. And I heard a guy tell me, a black guy, "You're too black. I wouldn't choose you as my girl." I've heard, "You're ugly." I've heard, "You're too dark." And these were from black guys who were dark skinned, and we call it dark complexion or dark brown. Mind you, some of them did not even have a girlfriend, but yet they thought they needed to let me know that they would never choose me as their girlfriend. And being the way I was just processing the information, and I'm like, well, what would compel you to tell me that? Because I don't like you anyway. But that's how I learned that black guys didn't like me. They didn't have any other reason why they didn't like me except to say that I was black, I was too dark. And so me growing up in the early 90s, when it came to the black guys in school, you had to be either white or light. If you weren't white or light, you didn't get a boyfriend. Now, did this bother me? Just a little bit. And I'll tell you why. Because I know my history, and I know my black history. And I had a very strong father who taught me my black history. I had to read books growing up as early as I can remember about black history. My father, he loved being a black man. He absolutely adored being a black man, and he absolutely loved black women. So when these black boys let me know that they didn't like me because I was too dark or I was too black, they thought I was ugly because I'm black, it didn't really hurt me. And the reason why is because I loved myself. I loved the skin that I'm in. I love being a melanated girl because I was a young girl at the time. And in my house growing up, we didn't talk about skin complexion. But when we talked about being Black, it was always with honor. These young boys, what they didn't know about me is that I knew who I was. I knew my Black history, and I knew why they thought the way they thought. And it was because of self-hatred. And it was because they didn't know their Black history. And maybe they didn't have a Black father in their life that instilled in them to be proud of who you are. Because my Black father taught me to love being a Black girl and a Black woman. But to address what bothered me just a little bit about these Black guys who made it clear to me that they didn't like me because I was ugly, because I'm Black. What bothered me about that is that I felt embarrassed for them, because they didn't know what they were missing out on. And I thought to myself, they will never know or understand the impact and the gift of having a Black woman by their side. And I do not like seeing Black people, whether you are male or female, disown themselves, reject themselves because of the color of their skin. You see, being melanated is very rich. It's very unique, very beautiful. And so when these Black guys told me, I would never choose you as my girl because you ugly, you too Black, I didn't feel ugly. But I thought, how disappointing it is to just see this Black boy think this way. It was disappointing, because I did not want to see Black boys think so poorly of themselves. Because see, what I understood was, even though he was telling me, and I'm saying just him, it was more than just one Black boy. This happened quite a bit. Like I said, I mentioned, the earliest I remember is like maybe 5th, 6th grade in elementary, on up into probably maybe my sophomore year in college. I witnessed a lot of this, and I would watch and I would observe and see so many Black guys dating white girls or maybe Hispanic women. If she was not Black, then that was who they dated. And I never got angry about Black guys dating non-Black women. And the reason why is because I knew that they didn't know their history. I knew that they didn't love themselves. And I always felt like they were missing out on the beauty of a Black woman. So while these Black guys were busy trying to make me feel bad about who I was, for something I have absolutely no control over, my skin, and even my hair, well, that's a whole nother story, because, well, when it comes to the hair texture of Black people, we are the only people who have hair like wool. We are the only people whose hair can stand on our heads without using any type of chemicals. We are the only people whose hair is naturally curly. But because these black guys didn't know their history, they viewed my hair or the other black girl's hair as nappy. And I knew that my hair was different. I knew that black hair was unique, and I appreciated our differences. There is no other race in this world except for the black race who has hair like us. And I'm just thankful that growing up, we didn't talk about our hair in a derogatory manner. We didn't talk about our skin complexion in a derogatory manner. We loved ourselves. We loved being black. So that's why I say black guys did not like me. They did not like me. So let me go, and fast forward on into me being a grown woman and experiencing seeing black men date white women and other women who are not black women. I don't get angry about it, but I often hear people say that white women show microaggression towards black women when they're dating black men. Now that's probably true, but I haven't experienced microaggressions from white women when they're dating black men. It was more so vice versa. I would experience microaggression from black men dating white women. And these microaggressions were towards me, a black woman. For example, I may go walking and I see a couple coming towards me as I'm walking, and it is a interracial couple, a black man with a white woman. And the black man is looking at me very aggressively, like looking at me as if he's angry with me. Body posture very stiff, very hard, and his look can be a couple of ways. His look can be either a look of pride, like as if he's arrogant, as if he's better than me. Somebody that kind of gives you that look like they look down upon you, or the look of just a fierce anger, and he's looking directly at me. And I noticed his female partner, who is a Caucasian woman, she doesn't look at me at all. As a matter of fact, she does one of two things. She turns her head away, or she puts her head down. Now, if you know anything about body language, then you will understand that when somebody doesn't make eye contact with you, when their eyes are fidgety, when they look away, when they look down, it shows insecurity. It shows also feelings of shame or embarrassment, even intimidation. Because I don't have a reason to look away or look down, and I stand tall when I walk. And I feel good when I'm walking. So, in other words, I'm confident and I'm fine with who I am. I'm enjoying myself. And when I go back and I see the body language of the black man again, he's angry at me and he doesn't even know me. And he's looking right at me. And you would think that once we meet up that this couple may speak, because I mean, he's looking right at me, but he doesn't speak to me at all. Instead, he sneers at me and keeps walking and never says anything. And his female partner, who is Caucasian, she keeps her head down. And I smile, and sometimes I speak, but I don't get anyone to speak back to me. So those are microaggressions that I get from black men who are dating non-black women, in most cases when they're dating Caucasian women. And that reminds me that black guys don't like me. And is it because I'm a black woman? Yes, it is. Because they told me that's the reason why. And I don't get angry about black guys dating white women or any woman who's non-black. And the reason why is because, well, they're doing me a favor. And they're doing every black woman a favor by leaving them alone. You see, you can look angry at me. You can look like you just want to punch the air. But just make sure you don't ever touch me. Don't put your hands on me. I don't care about your anger. Because your anger is something that you have to get rid of on your own. But if you choose to keep the anger, well, you choose to not live a life that is fulfilling and free. And the energy that you carry is very, very toxic. And that's why I don't get angry about black men dating white women or non-black women, because these men are not good men. They're very unhealthy men, very unsafe men. These are men who do not love themselves. Any man that hates women who come from their same race of people is not a happy man. And usually these type of men will go for women who are insecure, because the body language of the Caucasian woman, she never looks at me in my eyes. She always looks away. She looks nervous. She looks intimidated. She puts her head down. It's almost as if she's ashamed. But why would you want to be ashamed of who you are with? Are you ashamed of being with the black man? Are you ashamed of seeing a black woman because you are a white woman with a black man? Maybe she knows her history. You see, because white history and black history was history. And we know about slavery. We know about Jim Crow laws. We know about prejudice and racism and discrimination, because it's history. But history does not mean that it remains in the past. The history carries over into the present if you don't deal with yourself. So every day I see black guys who don't like me. And I'm not bad about it either, because those black guys, they're not really happy. But they want you to think that they are, because they think that they have a trophy because they're with a white woman. But their reason for being with a white woman is not out of love. It's not out of an organic, natural building of a relationship. Their relationship is forced. Their relationship is actually predictable, planned, as well as very strategic because of their pain. Black men's pain, Black men's shame, Black men's disgust. They don't like Black women. But they don't like Black women because they don't like themselves. So I don't have a reason to be angry about Black men being with white women or any non-Black woman, because I'm a Black woman. I'm a Black lesbian woman, and I'm not looking for a man. But if I was a heterosexual Black woman, I would not want a Black man who hates Black women. And the reason why is because the only way that you will be with a man who hates himself is if you are desperate and if you don't have self-love. So I couldn't see myself with a Black man who doesn't love Black women. And even if I was a Caucasian woman, I couldn't see myself with a Black man who hates Black women, because that will let me know that he hates himself. Love the skin that you're in. Don't berate or mistreat anyone, because when you do so, you're not only hurting yourself, but you're causing pain to someone else who doesn't deserve it. So let's love on ourselves. Let's learn about ourselves, and we'll probably do a better job of loving others and having more fulfilling relationships. And I will say, as a credit for Black men, you kind of have to understand that what you see in the media is what they want you to see. But in reality, the majority of Black men are with Black women, just like the majority of white women are with white men. And people usually gravitate to those who they feel most comfortable with, who they can relate to, and who they love and adore. Because when you love who you are from your inside to the outside, then you are going to attract the same kind of person. Well, thank you for listening. I am Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thank you again for listening.